It takes longer and longer each day. There it is. It is 1 minute after 7 o'clock. Boogie with the Bull Uncensored. I'm Dave Goulden, and on the right side of your screen, Jerry Michaels from the American Rebellion, who is here probably more than I'm on Jerry's broadcast. And I like having Jerry on. And what is new and exciting in your world, Jerry?
Oh, it's the same stuff every day, just trying to make it through, I guess. Everybody's doing the same thing these days, not knowing which way is up anymore. Yeah. But in the end, at least we have politicians that lie, cheat, and steal, and then have hearings, spend millions of dollars, and do absolutely nothing. So we got that going for us.
Yeah.
We find out every crime in the world that they commit. Biden is committed. He's a corrupted piece of garbage, and the Democrats are okay with that, but hate Trump for not doing stuff that they've accused him of, and it's just a complete and total mess, is what it is. And we are falling as a country into an abyss of third world shitholiness, I think, because we're not going to climb out of this anyway easy.
The Mike Pence moment of the day is, I guess, that Jesse Waters had him on. I don't know if it was yesterday, today, or whenever. And he did his famous, "It's not my problem." You think he's still, well, everybody believes, and is probably right, that Trump will get the nomination anyway, but does Pence have any chance of thinking that he might have a chance?
I have no idea what he's thinking. I mean, when you make a statement, it's bad enough. You should know that half of the country hates him with a fire. And then he says that, and I'm not sure what the hell he's thinking, to be truthful. Maybe he's just in it for the money. I don't know. But I have to tell you, there is no chance in hell of him becoming president in a free and fair election. So I'm worried, because we don't have that anymore. You can never tell at this point who's going to get the nomination. You don't know anything. I mean, the kangaroo courts against Trump may actually put him in jail. I don't know. Yeah. I just know that if Trump don't get the nomination and anybody even suspects a cheated election, I think this country's going to explode, because it's just this ain't going to work anymore. It's not going to work. It shouldn't have worked after the last time. Things should have been done, and Pence should have done them. And that's the problem with Pence. Yeah. I have no use for Pence. I have no use for Chris Christie. I have no use for anybody else running other than Trump, and I don't think he has a chance of hell of getting in the White House. And I'm the only one.
Well, no,
I don't understand how anybody thinks he can get into the White House after they stole it from him the last time when he was already in the White House. For the life of me, I don't get that. But no one's had any kind of explanations.
Do you think, though, that the minute they realized in January of 2021 that Joe Biden was in and was going to be the person in the White House, do you think they started planning how? I don't believe that they had any intention of running him again, but they have a candidate who is going to announce at the last minute. And I kept saying my money was that on Hillary Clinton, but she'd have to get pardoned by Biden in order for anything she ever did, one of those pardons, before she could face any chance of getting any chance of winning. Just because I've always figured, it always just surprised me that 2022 wasn't Clinton versus Trump 2.0. Still assuming that Trump would have easily won it, but I guess the question that I'm asking is, do you think that the Democrats have spent enough time looking at how they managed to pull off 2020, and they're that prepared, if not more prepared, to pull off 2024.
I think they're more so prepared. They're not going to let Trump. They're going to do everything they can to get rid of him. Okay, it's that simple. There is nothing else. Okay, that's all they care about. And then they want somebody in there. They wanted DeSantis. I don't know how well that's going now. Not really, but because DeSantis was trying to beat Trump, and they could also control him at the same time. Okay, it's one thing to be a governor and say all the things he's saying. It's another, and that's what a lot of these politicians are doing now. They're talking like Trump to get elected and then doing what the swamp wants them to do.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Otherwise, pilots would be back at work for a ridiculous thing. Our military personnel would be able to rejoin the armed forces, and stuff like that. It's ridiculous. It really is.
And where do we go? Where do we go from there? We are live on the Dave Globin profile. We're live on the Boogie with the Bull True Patriot Talk page. We're live somewhere on the YouTube channel. And the American Rebellion, AMRAB, says, hey, all. So, thank you for coming in. Let's see. Let me get down and do this one. We want that one. And we'll leave that one on the screen.
Hold on a sec.
For a bit.
Hold on.
We'll leave that one on for a bit in case anyone wants to join us. It's StreamYard.com/Z as in zebra, U Union D David A Apple 9 JNIDT. If you type that into your browser, it will bring you right in to the studio. What I suggest you do is that you turn off Facebook or turn the volume down on Facebook if it's on or from the same device that you're going to be on. Otherwise, you get weird echo and loud obnoxious noises in the background that tend to bother some of us. But anyone is welcome to come in and join if they wish. And the only other thing I will mention is that this Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. is going to end tonight. It's going to get moved to Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I'm not sure what will happen in the Thursday evening or anything. Other than that, what else is there to discuss? Okay. I see him moving. Jerry, you turned your mic off. Your mic is off. Your mic is not on. Okay. All right, bear with us. The happenings of live, whatever it is. Sometimes you.
Sorry, I was muted. Most people are happy when I'm muted. I don't know what your problem is, but
I stopped talking, and I was hoping that you had a thought. I've had to turn my mic off and on throughout the broadcast because our Chihuahua is a little active tonight. Oh, we lost Jerry. He should be back. I hope. Oh, there he is. Looks like he's coming back. There he is. And
yeah, you know what? I am so over this internet thing.
Yeah,
it's just unreal how bad it is. It really is. There's no excuse for it. I'm paying well over $200 a month. I'm running through data like there's no tomorrow, and obviously, can't seem to stay on for 2 hours without being, dragged out, basically. So I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
do you have?
The
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
I was
Sorry.
going to say, do you have track phone, or like we have Straight Talk, which is track phone, and Walmart. But track
No.
phone, I guess, was sold recently to Verizon, and if you can get a good Verizon signal in your home, Verizon Home Internet, which is basically wireless, might be an option to look at. But if you don't get a good Verizon signal, then it's not going to work.
No, and my computer is actually hooked up to the internet. I mean, it's wired to the modem, so
Okay,
that's as good as it's getting.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we just gave up our Verizon phones because they were bad.
Yeah,
they were horrible out here, and we got AT&T now, but it's a little better, not by much.
Yeah.
You know, frankly, I could probably go without a cell phone and be happy as hell. I don't know. I don't really need a cell phone that much, but we have them.
My father had a bag phone. Yeah, my dad, for the longest time, had a bag phone under his driver's seat, and he only used it. He only used it if the car broke down or something, and he had to call AAA or call somebody to come get him. Other than that, had a old.
Well, I remember them. They was a long time ago, but my dad had the one. It was about that long, with an antenna that went like it was about 12-inch and 6-inch, something like antenna. And all his back pants pockets were ruined because that's where he kept it, except when he was driving or sitting, obviously. But all his pants back pocket would rip out. But he thought he was cool because nobody else had those back in the day.
Hold on a minute. There we go. Okay. Yeah.
That's me.
One of the cabs I drove after I sold both of mine, the cab owner had I swear to God, it had to weigh 25, 30-pound backpack that had a phone in it that had to be plugged into the cigarette lighter in order for it to work. And that was a pain. But yeah, they've come a long way.
Well, you remember that TV show Cannon where what the hell, he was a famous actor, but he was more famous in radio than he was as actor because he did all kinds of characters on the old time radio. But he had the whole
William something,
but I
can't remember his last name.
William Conrad, he had the car phone, which looked really nice in the LTD drove, until you opened up the trunk and saw the battery and all the stuff that it took for that phone to work. He must have got about a mile a gallon in that car. I don't know. I mean, them cars were never meant for gas mileage to begin with, but him being fat and that damn battery, that's a lot of weight for a car.
It is.
But
it is.
It was cool though. I mean, back then you saw that stuff. That was really cool stuff to see. It really was.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, you had Slinkies or not Silly Putty, which I think was developed by NASA for something. I don't know what it was, but if you had Silly Putty, you had stuff astronauts had, so you were cool. That was like you were the coolest kid on the block, man. It was great.
You can read the comics with it too. Put it down on the Sunday comics, flatten it out, rub it a little time, peel it off, and there it was. Yep.
We got Robin Brunson is here. Robin, this isn't our show. This is Dave Glovin's Boogie with the Bull. That's why there's a Boogie with the Bull thing on the top there. So this it here. I don't know if anybody else is coming on. You have to ask him.
I don't know. I tried to send out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm so over. I got to be truthful. I've been doing politics on Facebook for a long time now.
Yeah.
And nothing has changed. The act is the same, but it has gotten so much worse because of nothing has happened. And there's two ways that we can fix this country, and that's put everybody in jail, which would be most of the government, frankly.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about not people we've never heard of that just work in the government, along with politicians, the big names and all. They all need to go to Guantanamo, every last one of them, and or war. I don't see any other way of doing this.
Where,
I
where
don't.
do we go?
And it's
Where
sad.
do we, us going into Ukraine and winning the war for Ukraine doesn't really do anything for us, does it? And if once Hunter Biden stands before that Republican appointed judge, as AOC was so clear to point out yesterday, or they
AOC.
or that form that Chuck Grassley has does in fact incriminate President Biden, and he goes too, and the whole Biden family goes too. I mean, we're just kind of messed up. I had said to you earlier, 83 Republicans voted, which is probably the whole House Republican majority, voted with the Democrats to press the airlines to not hire the pilots that didn't get vaxxed. So did those people just declare themselves Democrats? Because, I mean, do we now have 83 more rhinos than we knew about in the House?
No, I just think I think what happens is simple. Big business, and the airlines are big business, pays off a bunch of people to vote their way. That's what I think. I think these guys are getting paid for their votes for a long, long time now, obviously. Okay. And that's how they're going to vote, because the people don't elect these people. The big money elects these people. Okay. Simple as that. And so whoever the lobbyists are going in there, and they're, okay, we'll give you this and you'd give us that and blah, blah, blah. And that's what happens. The airlines don't want to hire these pilots back. Yet I read an article the other day that there's a shortage of pilots.
Yeah.
I mean, can you tell me what kind of sense that makes? And then, of course, we all read how we're just going to hire people because of the color of their skin or their gender and put them in an airplane. And that ought to work out real well, I think.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. Scary days. No one seems to know what's going to be happening tomorrow. Some mornings.
Well, I know this. Whatever's stupid happened today, there'll be more stupid tomorrow, and probably whatever you shook your head at today and think it can't get any worse than that, will tomorrow. That I know. Because everybody seems to be trying to out-stupid each other with ridiculous rhetoric, ridiculous policies, you name it. And this whole government is nothing more than middle management, and it shows. They are bumbling fools. Usually middle management is kind of bumbling fools. Very few are any good at it. So who are the ones pulling the strings? Well, you got the New World Order. We'll just call them that. Okay.
Yep.
And it's an old phrase and everything. Bush came up with it. I get Bush the first, but in the end, that's who's pulling the Soroses, the big banks and the big this and the big that. Big money. Okay. And they're paying off all these morons. I mean, look at Joe Biden. Joe Biden wasn't asked to take a bribe. He asked to take a bribe from the Ukraine and Burisma. Through his, and this is the brilliant part, his crack-addled son. Yeah, nothing could go wrong there. Not one damn thing. Hunter couldn't take a damn laptop to a computer store to get it fixed or whatever the problem was and then leave it there. That would never happen with a crack-addled moron. No, never, ever.
I'm surprised that a Hillary Clinton incident didn't happen after doing something like that. Other than it's just got to show that he he was that crazy. Because as I've said before on many broadcasts, he had to have a receipt for the thing, which I'm sure on the back of it said property left after so many days becomes ours, and we're going to do with it what they want. Plus, the guy was trying to fix it. What the guy was trying to fix on it, who knows? So the guy's going to look at everything. And if he's putting in a bigger hard disk, he's going to clone the hard disk that's in there so he can put it on the new hard drive that he's putting in there. I just,
No, it was back in the beginning of this. It came out that there was on the receipt, you leave your stuff for, like you said, I think 30 days or whatever. Or maybe it's 60. It depends on the state law.
Yeah.
But you can. It becomes the owner. The owner becomes the person who has it, which would be the repair guy in his shop. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and this is done by a crack-addled moron. Okay, who I don't know what was going on at the White House on the 4th of July, but whatever it was, he seemed nervous a lot on the balcony there in that video. That's a guy who lost something. I don't know what it was. I don't think he was the one with the cocaine, but who knows? Because apparently the Secret Service has no idea, which is fucking hilarious.
I don't buy that for a minute, because I've been saying that the Secret Service knows beyond the shadow of a doubt that the bag belonged to a Biden. But that doesn't mean that there's more than one Biden's fingerprints on that bag, and they're not telling us that.
Well, I'll tell you this, Dave. You're seeing the videos coming out now. It's the most secured place in the world, blah, blah. It may not actually be the most secured place in the world, but here's what I'm going to tell you. There's probably cameras every 10 feet.
Yep.
There is not one blind. It's not like prison where there's a blind spot in the cameras and you can shiv somebody. Okay, there's not one blind spot in the White House.
Right.
They know exactly whose it is, and all they needed was evidence to prove it. And the FBI, from what I read yesterday, did not, tell them who the fingerprint belonged to. And the only thing they confirmed is there was cocaine in the bag. So I have to tell you that it's not the Secret Service's fault. It's the FBI, who is now, they are just completely corrupted at the top. And the only way that changes is every decent FBI agent needs to just walk off the freaking job one day and say, we've had enough. Whistleblowers are not working.
No.
Whistleblower, years and years and years ago, and you probably remember this, whistleblowers got all kinds of protections because before they could get fired, they could, be screwed with, go to court, all this. And the government was up in arms about it. So they made rules, regulations, and all this other stuff to protect whistleblowers of all kinds. And now the government is doing the exact same thing that they used to do with people before the laws. So whistleblowers ain't working.
Right.
In a country that is split down the middle in half over bad Trump, bad Biden, good Biden. Okay, you are never going to get people to believe that the FBI is an honorable, freaking enterprise. The FBI is as corrupt as humanly possible. I'm not blaming regular agents. I'm blaming the people at the top of the food chain and the Department of Justice.
Higher? Go ahead. Mm-hmm. Does it go higher? Where I've said before that Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, is like the head of the Internal Affairs Bureau, the Justice Department. Is it time to bring him into the House, in the Senate, before the Supreme Court? I don't know who, and make him explain why on his watch all of this stuff has been happening and he hasn't done anything about it. And
it is. The entire Justice Department is corrupted. inspector generals are corrupted. Okay, and you can bring them before whoever the hell you want. It's not going to matter. Nobody is going to jail. This
Right.
is the problem.
Okay.
Okay, you could probably name 500 people in the FBI and then go up to the Justice Department and name 500 people and then go to the White House and name damn near everybody. Okay, have them all go before, whatever you want them to go before. Have it proven that they've all committed high crimes against this country, including treason, and they would all just walk off. And at worst, maybe some of them might resign.
Yeah.
We have Mayorkas as the border czar. He has opened up our borders to a flood of illegal aliens. The Congress keeps screaming impeachment. The other half says, no, we can't do that. Okay. If there was ever a guy who was blatantly breaking the law, it's him, and nothing happens. He goes before the House or the Senate.
Yeah.
He can't answer a question. He lies constantly. It is obvious he is lying constantly. And what happens? Absolutely nothing.
Ted Cruz's blood pressure goes way up. Ted Cruz's blood pressure goes up so high that I'm afraid that even if it's just theatrics when he's talking to Mayorkas, that the man's gonna have a stroke and die there on the spot just because of how angry he is when he's talking to him. Just like
I don't care. I don't care because it's all an act. These hearings to me are nothing more than a political grandstand where they can get their name in the newspaper and get reelected. And the meaner you are, or the more your sympathy you are, depending on which side you're on.
Yeah.
Because when the Republicans bring people up, the Democrats are mean to them. When the Democrats bring people up, the Republicans are mean to them. Okay. Yeah. And everybody loves what they say. They shake their fist and they, I love that guy. Well, you know what? Sitting there and acting like that doesn't help anybody for any reason ever.
Yeah.
And we're at a point now where it's just a show. That's it. It's nothing more. Because none of these people are going to go to jail, and these two poor IRS whistleblower or FBI whistleblowers are going to go back to their lives, and their lives are going to be in a shamble. Do you think these damn politicians up here are going to do a damn thing for them? No. They were used as political pawns. Period. Yeah, the American people. Yeah, Dave, let me ask you something. And this is a serious question. How much do you hear in these hearings that you didn't already know?
Not really anything other than the same. You might hear the Democrat or Republican, who's ever got the floor, kicking a few more words, but it's the same thing. I mean, like I said earlier, I waited all day, or I watched that whole hearing yesterday because I wanted to see what AOC had to say. And all she basically said was she blamed this whole thing on Trump, and tomorrow on Trump, and yesterday on Trump, and Trump's mother for the day that Trump was born, and this, that, and the other thing. And some of them did have the gonads I'll use because there are ladies watching. So some had the gonads to say that if it was Trump and say Jared Kushner, because I guess he got $2 billion in a deal from the Saudis over something that he made $2 billion off of. Would the Democrats go after them? And my honest to God feeling was probably not. It's just who has the floor at the moment, who's in the White House, who has the majority, and us having to think that on any given day of the week, those that have the majority make the rules. It's their game.
Here's the worst part, Dave. You've got, Joe Biden. You've got Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, people like that. And when they die, we're going to have a 2 week period of all these politicians talking about how great they were in their public service and all this other crap, when in reality they enriched themselves off the backs of the American citizens. We were talking about this last night. You know, it used to
Yeah.
be so easy. Well, it wasn't easy, but it was a lot easier back in the day. If you worked hard, you could get something out of it. Nowadays, all you're doing is paying to live indoors. Okay, and why is that? Because the politicians have sold us all out to every other country with $2 to rub together.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
They have sold out other countries. I don't know if you guys remember. We used to bitch and moan about shit made in Taiwan.
yeah.
Everything was made in Taiwan. And now nothing's made in Taiwan. It's all made in China.
I think
So
Nancy
explain that.
Pelosi went to Taiwan earlier this year, last year, whenever, to set up Taiwan to maybe, because right now I guess everybody says China makes the most chips in the world. It's not the United States anymore, but to move that to Taiwan so that when Taiwan can't handle the amount that they have to make, hopefully it'll ship back to Silicon Valley here in California, or any place in any place they can put up a plant.
I love that.
To do it. Well, I've called it that for years. And I mean, I grew up in the heart of Silicon Valley. And I call it that because it's kind of like you just said a few minutes ago. Anyone in Silicon Valley, if they really want to, whether they're educated or not, if they got $2 to rub together and they can rub it the right way in front of the right people, they will make $2 billion a year in that business. Even if they just don't even ever go into work, they will make. There was a time when, you could take for like putting it better, my dog droppings on the floor, wrap them in gold, and sell them in a high-priced jewelry store, and people would buy them. But
no.
But we gave that chip. We gave that chip business away.
Yeah, we've given every business away. We have literally, like I do a lot of small engine work. You realize there are really no factories left in the United States making small engine products.
Yeah.
And if you do buy one that happen to be made in the United States, you're going to pay way more.
Yeah.
Okay, because they're not selling enough. And it's that simple. If we had more of these, any company, I don't care what it is, if we had more of them making it, it would bring the price down.
It would.
But when you have only a few, very few making it, the price goes through the roof. So what do? I do the same damn thing. I put in like America only, but the problem is the Chinese have come over here. They've set up warehouses. They've set up all this stuff, and they just have it shipped from China. And so they can say that it's from here. When in reality, everything is being shipped from the factory in China.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's with that. Go on Amazon or eBay. Everything on there is pretty much made in China. Not everything. I bought some capacitors for my air conditioner. I keep extra in case we get a lightning strike or something. And they're made. Right there says made in the USA, and they're not expensive. I believe one was under $10, and the other one I think was around $15, which is I can live with. Okay, but you look at the ones from China, and they're literally half the price. But because I could actually afford something, which is unusual, okay, I bought the ones in the USA. Now, does that help? Probably a tiny bit. Yeah, you're doing your part and everything, but in reality, we've already lost this war.
Yeah.
You want to slow China down? Put every single thing you can on them, tariff and whatever else you can think of on them, and then start telling Americans to start building this crap. Because I guarantee you, we can build better crap than China builds crap.
Yeah.
Fact.
Are there ways
Car
to stop?
parts?
Yeah. You,
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
well, you hear constantly that they own the most ports, most U.S. ports anyway, are owned by China. So is there really any way to stop them from getting their crap in here? I mean, you can say to them you can't ship
Well,
it
if
here
you put
anymore, or the
tariffs
tariff
on,
is going to be so goddamn high to sell it. But if they own the
yeah,
port, can't they
well,
just?
that's a fact.
I mean, you won't
Has
get a
anyone
truck. You might
ever
get.
wondered why? I used to deal a lot in costume jewelry, stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
Has anybody ever wondered why you can get for 99 cents a ring or a necklace from China with free shipping? But if when you ship that in America, uh, you have to pay I think like if I send something in Florida, it's like $3 or $4. Can't
yeah,
remember exactly how much it was. Okay, when it used to be $1.80, and the price jumped a lot, and it's jumped again. Yeah, because they've sold out Americans yet again to China. We have already lost economically.
yeah,
You go to Walmart, you go to damn near any store, and either the parts for whatever you're buying are made in China, okay, or the entire thing is made in China. You see stuff now that's labeled assembled in America. You
yeah.
also see stuff that says is assembled in China, which means we're taking the parts that we may make, maybe, and sending them off to China to be assembled instead of assembling them here.
Right. Because, well, yeah, because they'll claim the labor was cheaper. I know with the iPhone originally, I believe they were sending the parts to China and having the phone assembled in China and sent here. And then New Balance Athletic Shoe, which was a big company, a big startup in Silicon Valley,
Yep.
he was either buying the part. No, yeah, he was actually getting the parts from China, assembling the shoe here, putting it on a boat, going out 13 miles, then turning around and coming back in and saying it was imported or made in the United States because they were
Yeah.
assembling it here. They were assembling it here. And, you know,
And then let's look at the next problem with all this economically is who are these companies that are assembling this crap here? Who are they hiring? Who are the meat companies that put out these products like steaks and so forth? Who are they hiring at the butcher shop or at the slaughterhouses? Who are they hiring at the canned goods companies? They're hiring illegal aliens for half
yep,
the price and
yep,
outcharging us by a long shot. Okay, by a long shot.
yep,
And then look at what the final product is. Like we sit down to a nice
yep,
steak and potatoes, and I don't know. I like mashed potatoes and like corn or something like that. It's either poisoned or
yep,
steroided up so bad that everybody's getting cancer. It is utterly ridiculous. And then let's look at the studies we have on food that say, well, no, this is fine for you. That's not, we should eat bugs. We should do this, yeah, no,
no. I
no.
mean,
How about we
I don't,
do this?
it's
How
like
about
you're
we
saying,
stop poisoning everything? How about we
I
stop
don't see
poisoning
how
the
they can
water,
say to me
poisoning the
that
air?
I don't see how they can
Go ahead.
say to me
Sorry.
that a handful of cockroaches may be as nutritious as eating a really nice piece of filet beef and having anybody look at them and go, but it's not a nice piece of filet beef. It doesn't matter.
Well,
Even if you can make it look like a nice piece of beef, it's crazy. And these companies that claim
all
they're
right.
printing 3D beef, it is more expensive at a restaurant than an actual real piece of beef.
Yeah.
I just,
Yep.
but do you think
I'm going to
DeSantis
tell
will
you
be
something.
serious? Go ahead.
No, I DeSantis. I would be surprised if DeSantis made it to the nomination part.
No,
I would.
I just meant he's been saying lately that
I
he's
would be.
beefed up the e-hire system in Florida, and they're looking, and if they find that you
Yes.
have illegal immigrants, they're going after your business. Is he just saying that
Well,
to
that's
get,
what he says.
or is that, do you
No,
think
they've
that's the
actually
new
done
rule?
it, but here's the problem. By the time all the lawsuits are done, um, who knows if that'll work or not? Because the first couple of judges are going to tell them, no, you can't do this. And then it's got to go all the way to the Supreme Court. So the problem with laws made these days is too easy to sue over them. So you sue, and by the time they take effect, nobody even remembers them anymore or cares.
Yeah,
Or there's 25 other laws in place that negate that one. And, I don't trust Ron DeSantis with the presidency any further than I can throw him. I've been saying this since the
yeah,
beginning. I've been saying since he was elected governor, he's running for president. Yes, Florida has benefited from him, okay, to a point. But I'm going to tell these people who want to move to Florida, it's not as free as you think it is. As a matter of fact, it's pretty expensive for a lot of things. A lot of things, especially if you want to come here and start a business. There's hoops to jump through, just like every other damn state. We don't have really any more freedoms in Florida than anybody else has. Okay. Don't move to the cities because you're moving to a cesspool, just like every other state. And I'm talking about the mid-sized cities on up, like Gainesville. You go to Gainesville, it's nothing but liberals.
yeah,
Gainesville is a mid-sized city. Fort Lauderdale has been a mess ever since I can remember as a kid. Miami is worse.
yeah,
Jacksonville is worse.
yeah. We're just,
Tallahassee is bad. Okay, it's bad. You move to a city in this state, no matter where it is, and you are going to find that it's not much different than any other city. And why? Because most of them are run by Democrats. And why is that? Because, like in South Florida, you got, we talk about Texas. In South Florida, there are more illegal aliens than 11 million that the government keeps telling us are here. I'll guarantee you. I'll guarantee you.
yeah,
Okay. So, you come here, at least bring conservative values with you if you're going to live in the smaller towns. If you come here with your liberal bullshit, what's going to end up happening is that you are not going to make a lot of friends, first of all, and you're going to piss off everybody, is what you're going to do. And you don't care. I know that, but believe me, we do. And we're not a bunch of dumb hicks down here in the rural areas of Florida. We really ain't. We know what the hell's going on, and we know what your game is. That's why you don't see BLM or Aunt Tiffany down here causing all kinds of problems everywhere. But you do see it in South Florida sometimes. That song that came out that everybody on the left hates and says it's racist. And no, it's not. That's a warning. You don't want to play with us because we have a very short attention span and no negotiating skills. And that's a fact. Come into a small town and overrun the cops and see if the people don't back them up. I guarantee you they will. Because we're sick of this garbage. You can like that or not. I really, you can't cancel me because I don't care what you think. You can do whatever you want. I don't really care. You come to my house, you're going to find out very quickly that that's a bad plan. That's it. Happy day. The cities are cesspools throughout this country, and I think they're lost. I really do. I think the cities in this country are lost already. They're never going to change because people keep voting for the same garbage, putting them in office, and they get garbage. You put garbage in, you get garbage out. It's real simple, right? I mean, am I wrong?
no. I've always said, how can you talk about term limits with the same people that served 40 years already and expect to think that they're going to Well, I mean, some might actually vote for it because they may have made the millions of dollars that they wanted to make in their 40 years, and they're still going to make millions of dollars more when they're out. But I mean, how can you expect the people who've been in there for 40 years to set the term limits? And if you do, it's going to be you can serve 40 years in the House, 40 years in the Senate, and then try to become president for 40 years. But
what I love the most is when you get these politicians that have been in there for a long time and all of a sudden they got the answer to all the problems. You kind of wonder why they didn't have the answer the first 7 terms they were in. Here's the deal. If anybody who has served over 2 terms in the House needs to be voted out, period. And whoever has served more than 2 terms in the Senate automatically needs to be voted out. The problem is people won't do it. And whose fault is that? That's our fault.
Our fault. Because
the reason all this is happening is our fault. Yeah, we keep electing these people who have screwed us, every last one of us, and they keep telling us what we want to hear and then don't do any of it. The only person who has done what he said he was going to do in my lifetime, Donald J. Trump.
Yep. I wanted to ask you.
Most of it.
So you're Trump.
Was by himself.
Go ahead. Okay. You're Trump.
I said
you've been elected.
Go ahead.
You're Trump. You've been elected. It's the night before you going back into the Oval Office. What are you thinking is the first thing you have to do?
I'm filling out and signing executive orders while I'm doing the inauguration speech. Okay. And as I sign one, I'm telling everybody what it is. And the first one will be fixing the military. And there's going to need to be about 10 of them on that. Not the least of which is no one's allowed to wear a dress unless you're a biological female. Okay. And no more sex change operations. No more woke crap, that kind of stuff. I would literally be signing these damn things as I was doing the inauguration speech. And the inauguration speech would consist of each and every one of them and what I'm doing. And if that took 4 hours, that took 4 hours. Oh, well. Okay, but that's what's going to happen. That way, if I'm the president of the United States and I'm going up there, that's what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be the end of it. The next thing I would do after having 4 years in the White House and 4 years out of the White House is I would have a dossier on every single person in the House and the Senate and damn near everybody that working for the government, especially the Justice Department and the FBI. And I would start sending them envelopes with naked pictures of themselves or whatever it took to get them out of the government, period, and start replacing everybody. And I don't know, not listen to anybody from the current government on who to put where. In other words, no more Mitch McConnell's wife. No more, we'll keep him because he's the lesser of 2 evils. No more of that.
Yeah.
And ask people that you wouldn't normally ask, will you do this for your country? And then put in common sense get rid of 99,000,000% of all the stupid regulations that don't mean a hill of nothing. Stop letting the government be in charge of business. Stop letting the government be in charge of health. Don't let them be in charge of the national parks. Okay, don't let them be in charge of nothing. And I guarantee you things will get better. I prove it to you. Back in the day when you went to a Florida DMV, which was run by Florida, it was an all-day affair. 8-9 hours in the DMV line to find out when you got there you didn't have everything you needed. Okay? Then they privatized it. You're in and out of there in 20 minutes.
Tax collectors.
What does that tell you about the government? Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
We went Wednesday because we thought we read online that we didn't have to make appointments anymore. So we went. We got there. The lady said, "No, you have to make appointments."
They just didn't want to wait.
Yeah. We could have waited. We could have waited probably close to 2 hours, 3 hours, or we just said back tomorrow. So then, we got that appointment. They were very polite. I don't think I said more than, and I mean, I love to talk. Everybody knows that. I don't think I said more than maybe 13 words to that lady while we were there. Put a license plate down on the counter. Next thing I know, she handed me the return receipt, and then I said, "Oh, I have to renew my handicap placard because I left it in a rental car." And by the time I finished that sentence, she'd already handed it to me.
Yeah.
And,
I live in a small town. Obviously, I actually 9 times out of 10 every year when I register my truck, I walk in. And the same ladies are always working in there for years now.
yeah,
I walk in, I say hello to a couple of them that know me, or I know them, or know of, or whatever. I'm right up to the counter literally within 2 minutes. And like you just said, from the time I tell them I need to register this truck to the time I'm walking out the door saying goodbye, is literally less than 5 minutes.
how
Okay,
long have you been
and it's
there?
great. It
20.
really is.
Yeah, my wife said 20 minutes from the time we walked
Now you
in and
live in a
said we
more
had.
populated area. Yeah,
Yeah,
you live in a
yeah,
more populated area than I do, so that's why. But 20
yeah,
minutes is way better. I can remember inspections down here for your car. I mean, that
yeah,
was literally 8, 10 hours, a whole day,
yeah,
8 or 10 hours to get your car
yeah,
inspected to find out,
yeah,
well, it's not perfect. You got to go back to it again next week or something. And it's like, Jesus, give me a break.
yeah, yep, yep.
But hey, get the
Well,
government out of everything.
I ask
Fire.
you all the time,
90% of the government is unnecessary. Ninety
will
percent of the
Florida
government is
bring back
unnecessary. Get rid of them.
will Florida bring back vehicle inspections as a means of making money somehow, or that ship is sunk and that submarine's not even going to be able to get down far enough to find it?
I'm willing to bet that if a Democrat ever gets the governorship and the House and the Senate and the legislature goes Democrat in Florida, which it was for many, 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 many years. I mean, since the dawn of Florida. And then all of a sudden there was a change. We got Jeb Bush as governor, which was horrible, but he was a Republican supposedly. And then we got Rick Scott, who was a little bit better, not much. And then we got DeSantis, who was way better. And we could have went backwards. We had Charlie Crist was horrible, and his whole hobby, I think, is losing elections at this point because he never wins. But he tried again and he lost. And then this idiot gay black guy with the meth problem tried to run against DeSantis and he lost badly. But if it could come back, I guess anything is possible. But we haven't had car inspections in this state since emissions, and that was back in I remember 1996 or 7. They got rid of them, and I don't even remember why. But that was easy too. Usually, the line where I lived was maybe 3 cars. You'd go through, you'd pass or fail. If you failed, you only had to get it 5% better or 10% better. So you'd
Yeah,
go and, I don't know, change your PCV valve or a spark plug or something, and then just you'd go through again and you'd pass with flying colors. So as long as you didn't have any major exhaust leaks or anything, you were usually good. But they'd make you pay, which pissed everybody off. And
yeah,
so they, I don't know why, I don't remember why they got rid of it, but we haven't had any type of inspection and actual car where they check your whole car out. I think that stopped in the 80s, if I remember right. So I don't know. It's been a long time.
yeah. Is our sales tax high? Because I mean, I never look. I don't. We go shop, and I didn't. We got to pick up stuff.
7%.
Okay.
7%.
Yeah.
7%. And they keep telling us it's the same as any other state. They keep telling us it's for stuff like roads or schools. Quarter penny, which actually turns into a penny because there's no such thing as a quarter penny.
Right.
And everybody seems to think that, oh, it's just a quarter penny. Who cares? But you're still paying that extra penny, but they don't really fix the roads. And I don't know, the schools are still a mess in Florida, just like everywhere else. So I don't know. Florida has always had bad schools. And when I started going to school in Florida back in the 70s, we had the worst school system in the country, literally in Florida, the worst. Okay, we were ranked 50 because they were still integrating the schools back then. Okay, they hadn't finished, and Florida, I guess, whatever. But I have news for everybody. Back then, when they sent me to an all-black high school, the black people didn't want me there any more than we wanted to be there. We were forced into it. I had uh, 3 high schools within 10 minutes of my house, and they shipped me 40 minutes away to a black high school. So that tell you all you need to know about that. And they didn't want us there. They didn't want us there one damn bit. Okay.
Yeah.
The principal was a racist black guy. He hated us because we were white, and he didn't want us in his school. My parents went in to talk to him one time, and they found out where we lived. We lived in Davie, Florida, which is it's not as much now, but it used to be the redneckest town you ever seen in your life. I mean, there was like a horse corral in the front of McDonald's with a salt lick and stuff. I mean, literally, people would ride around the middle of the Davie with horses and stuff, and it was, it had a major rodeo down there and a whole 9 yards, which is actually still there. But when he found out we were from there, my parents said he just had this look of disgust on his face, and we were pissed. So it's like, in my house, you grew up, you did not judge anyone by the color of their skin, and if you ever, back then, the word Negro was a thing. That's what everybody was called. And then they changed it to black. And then, I don't know what the hell it is now, African something and darn Reagan. But you treated everyone with respect. I didn't even really know what racism was until I went to this school. And I was taught what racism is by black people. Not all of them, by any stretch of the imagination. Most of the ones who taught me what racism was adults, black adults. Okay, because most of the students were cool as shit. All right, but not all of them, but most of them. And it's that way today. Most black people are sick of this crap. And I see more and more videos with black guys or women on there talking trash about their own race simply because they're telling the damn truth and they're tired of looking bad because of a small amount. And I'm kind of proud of that because we need to get back to some common freaking sense in this country with every single thing you can possibly imagine.
You think we can do it?
No. I think we have too many race baiters on all sides, no matter what color, that try to keep this stuff alive. And unfortunately, we have a mainstream media that amplifies what they're saying instead of what the people are saying, that realize that this is all wrong. Makes no difference the color. There's a lot of people doing it and they don't get amplified like the race baiters do. And until we have a mainstream media that does actual investigative reporting, regardless of who is doing what.
Yeah, I heard you say the opposite. I didn't hear the whole question.
But I don't know.
I heard you say the opposite.
I know this about me personally. I don't care. I don't care what color you are. If you're a cool guy or girl and you work and you care about where you live, or you care about your actual house, and it's not a pigsty, and you work hard or whatever, and you try your best to do the best you can what you got. I got no problem with you. I don't care what color damn or where you from, other than one religion, because they hate everybody. But I don't care. You can if you're purple with pink polka dots and you're a decent person and you're decent to me, I'm good to you. That's it. It's not that hard. And I think most people are, frankly. But unfortunately, we're not in a minority. We are the majority, but not enough of us are speaking out, I think.
All right. My dog was barking in the background. She highly agrees with everything that you just said. But sometimes a
Well, at least
Chihuahua
there's
bark,
one.
sometimes a Chihuahua bark can be very mind-boggling crazy.
Well, yeah, my wife had one of them when I met her, and Rusty, and Rusty didn't have any teeth, and he was skinny, but he lasted for like 18 years. Rusty.
Yep.
He could barely eat because he couldn't get enough in. But 18 years, that dog. I mean,
Yep.
it was amazing. He didn't really bark much. Was never really a problem. Other than when one of the other dogs wanted to sit on my wife's lap, that was his job. He didn't like that much, but
When
yeah, Rusty was actually a pretty cool guy. He didn't really care about nothing or nobody. He just wanted to be left alone, like me, and sleep and go out and do his thing and everything, and then eat. And that's all he didn't. Rusty was the coolest, really cool dog. He was.
most of the time that's Delilah. She just she'll get up, sniff around breakfast, and then I don't know. I think she hides under the covers the rest of the day because uh, we have other dogs here, and she's the smallest. She's 15 years old. I hope that she will be with us for a long time. But
Well, I mean, she's healthy. It sounds like,
yeah,
and for some reason, little dogs tend to last longer than the big ones. I've
yeah,
noticed, but they all die too soon. I think.
you do.
Rusty
Yeah,
just died of old age. One day he quit eating, and like 2 days later, he was gone.
yeah.
Um,
Well, that's Delilah.
and
She'll do
it's
that for a week at a time. She just won't eat for a week, and then all of a sudden, she'll eat everything you feed her the
yeah.
next week more. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I've had a lot of dogs, and each one of them has brought something into my life that
Yeah,
I never forget.
yeah,
And a couple of them died way too soon. For crap they did to themselves, and I don't know why. But we had Bo. Well, I like Bo. Bo was one of them dogs. He's afraid of everything. I never seen. And he weighed like 80 pounds, 90 pounds. It's crazy. He's afraid. If I was working in the kitchen and there was a cord on the ground, or we moved one of the refrigerator or something, he wouldn't come into the kitchen to go outside. I mean, it was, and if he did, he was running at 100 miles an hour to get out past it. I never seen anything like it. But if something came in that yard like a snake or something, he'd kill the hell out of it. So,
yeah.
but he ate for some reason. We think he ate some poison mushrooms, and he did it too late in the day. We couldn't get him to the vet, so we went the next day, but it was too late.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he died from that. And it was sad because Bo was a weird dog, actually, but he was kind of cool. Plus, I liked him because he's big. And if anybody messed with my wife when I wasn't here, he was going to kill them, which I like
Yeah.
because we get dogs in this house and I bring them home and they suddenly become my wife's dogs. They won't leave her side for no reason. So it's like, it's good. Well,
Yeah.
that's why we have dogs. You will not come in this house without a dog biting the hell out of you, which I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good with that. So they all kind of give you even a nut job dog I got now. I mean, I like this dog. She's just out of her mind. I've never seen anything like it. But
Yeah.
she's got a personality. I'll give her that.
So Lila used to like to chase rabbits around the yard in Connecticut because we were right on the edge of the woods, and they'd come out of the woods
Yep.
running through the yards, and they weren't much bigger than her anyway. So she would, if they stopped in the yard, she'd walk up to the yard and she'd just like sit like right next to one, and then she'd just sit there and watch it. And then when it took off, she took off.
Well, at our house, it's a little different. It's a little different story.
Well,
if a rabbit comes in the yard and I don't have to see it.
Catch it. Yeah, she wasn't looking to catch it. She just wanted to play with it.
Yeah, well, ours are looking to catch him and eat him.
Yeah, I've heard you say
little known
that.
fact, to me, rabbits scream like women when they're being viciously ripped in half, which surprised me. So what we do now is I got a 55-gallon drum on the porch that we use for garbage, dry garbage, like, I don't know, whatever ain't got food in it. So I'll bang on that with my wedding band about 20 times at night.
Yeah.
And then I'll go up to the screen door and I'll bang on the shock about 10 times to get everybody out there's attention to know what's coming. And so far that has worked for the most part. And I haven't heard that scream is eerie. I'm here to tell you. And then you go out there and you see the bolt. One will kill. Chrissy will kill it because she's vicious about that. The other one doesn't kill it, but wants her half. So they will play tug of war until that happens. And then they will eat the rabbit. And it's like, it's better to just let them have their fill than try to take it away from them because I'm not fast. I don't run. And screaming at them doesn't work because they're not giving it up. So I just sit on the porch until they're done and go out and get whatever's left and throw it over the fence. And by the next morning, it's all gone.
Yep.
And I feel bad because the reason the rabbit's in the yard is it's eating at night because there's babies back in its hole. And those babies don't stand a chance. I feel bad, but that's how it works in nature.
Yeah.
Plus, rabbits ain't particularly bright when you're banging on every damn thing in the world. Get the hell out. That's what that means. It's like white people in a horror movie. Get the hell out of the damn house and don't hide in the shed where there's dead bodies and sharp objects hanging, okay? Just get in your car and drive the hell away. That's what you do.
Let's see.
But anyway, there you go.
I still want to ask you, but I forget every time I'm either on your show or you're on mine. Did you ever get the battery fixed in that tractor, behind the tractor?
I haven't bought a new one, but I didn't end up doing that. I just pushed the damn thing, and I don't push it completely out of the barn.
Oh, okay.
I actually need to go out there and do a video on something I was working on, but at this point, I haven't been in there about a while, so I got to go out first probably and charge up the damn battery so it'll at least start one of them so I can pull it out at probably 2 o'clock in the morning where, everyone else is sleeping and I'm wide the frick awake. I don't know. It's insane. Whatever. I don't know what to tell you. And
some more old
there's
guy
been a
cool
lot of
videos.
things I need to do that I haven't gotten done. Sorry?
Some new old guy cool videos.
No, I got a YouTube channel where I do DIY, but
I know you have that.
I'm putting up a winch so that I can lift the mowers up to get the blades off or work underneath them basically. Without having to use a chain hoist, which you're standing here like this for, I don't know, a half hour, and it takes forever.
Yeah.
And you got to keep switching arms because I'm fat and old and I'm tired. Or drag out I got an ATV jack, which works for the mowers that I can jack it up. But this way you can almost jack the mower up on its back end and work on that stuff, and it's a lot easier. I'm old, and I try to make shit easier for myself, and this is the stuff that I do. So
Good stuff. Good
everything I
stuff. You
got's
get
on
old.
wheels because I'm too old to be picking stuff up anymore. It hurts my back.
We get old, and we got to make stuff easier.
Yeah, and plus, I got the memory thing where, you walk in a room 28 times a day and got to go back to figure out what the hell you wanted. And
I'm worse than that. I will walk in the kitchen knowing that I'm going in there to make one of the dog's plates, and it goes in the microwave for 10 seconds to heat it up. And I'll be repeating the whole thing as I get in there, and I'll still walk back into the bedroom and go, the plate never left my hand and went into the microwave. I just set the
yeah,
timer on the microwave, and
yeah.
when it beeped, I just turn around and go back to the bedroom. And then I can't remember if I heated
Keep telling you,
the
Dave,
food.
we're gonna have joining rooms at the feeble-minded hospital here pretty quick. I'm telling you. I
Well,
mean, it's sad. The only time I really concentrate is when I'm doing a project. If I'm doing a
yeah,
project, I will concentrate on that. Or if something in my house is broke, drives my wife nuts. I have a saying: I don't like it when my shit don't work,
yeah.
and it's true. I will obsess over getting something in my house that is supposed to work, not that don't, to work. And I will literally, I mean, I'll spend days figuring it out and finally get it working. And then my wife is thrilled because I'm not acting like a madman, and all that. So, but yeah, so
You should make some
there you go.
DIY
I just figure,
videos of that.
I do. Well, I
Yeah,
do now. There's not one thing in this house I haven't fixed or
yeah.
replaced. Like replaced like a hot water heater, stuff like that. I've even fixed my air conditioning wiring for and stuff. Which surprisingly enough, the guy who put it all in wired it wrong. Huh, amazing. I didn't know this until I actually went through it and figured it out. He wired it wrong and told me it was a different amount of wires than it actually was. And I'm looking for this wire and I can't find it anywhere because it wasn't the one that was on the air conditioner. So anyway, but yeah, it works now and it's been good. So and stuff like that. I mean, when you pour, you got to do stuff yourself, and you got to learn how to do it, and that's how it should be, as best as you can. You know, um, there's not one thing in this house I don't think that I haven't fixed that needed fixing at some point. Other than one time, I called out the electrician to put a new switch on my water pump outside for the water. And then I watched him do it. It took him 5 minutes, and I was annoyed at paying him $175 afterwards. And I was really, really annoyed. And the other guy was the AC guy who came out to put a new capacitor in my air conditioner when it blew. And he charged me $90 for that. And I was pissed off. And I said, I ain't doing this anymore. And now I have an extra switch in this room over here, in this closet over here. I got extra capacitors. I've done them all. I've rewired them. I've done all this stuff. Everything on my truck that I've added to my truck, I've done myself. Um, I wire everything, and then after a while, you get decent for a homeowner at doing this stuff, and you understand it. And that's the on my YouTube channel. That is what I try to portray, that anybody can do this. It is not that hard. Most of it, some of it's time consuming, but it's not that hard. It's so much is spent on people coming to your house to fix your stuff that you could fix very easily in half the time, like refrigerators and appliances in general, that you can fix yourself, get the parts in half the time it takes the guy to come out and not pay near as much. So
And I don't have the attention span
Uh-oh.
to do most of that, but I watched watched a YouTube video on how to change the dryer belt and took it apart, put the new belt in, and it worked until the dryer finally died.
And
But,
yeah,
you
it's pretty easy. I actually got a dryer. One of these days, I'm going to go back to this because we have like people giving away free appliances all the time. You name it, big appliances, not like a
yeah,
blender. Okay. And most of the time, it's something stupid on them that doesn't work, or they work fine. I got a dryer the last time. Nothing wrong with it. Brand name. And it needed a belt, and they couldn't figure out why the thing wouldn't turn. Well, I knew it was the belt immediately, almost. And the belt cost, I don't know, $8.
yeah.
And I had it fixed in a half hour. And now I got an extra dryer in case the one we have now breaks. And I can just switch it over. It's not a big deal. And that's what's great about it. You listen, if you're poor or you're not well off and you want to have decent shit or you want to have stuff as backup or whatever, I'm big on backup stuff. You're going to have to probably do it yourself. It's that simple.
That's not bad if you have the attention span to do it. I just don't have the attention span. I just know me. If it was me, and I couldn't.
My problem, Dave, is that I have the attention span, but I become psychotic about it, where that is it. It is the only problem I have in the world, and it is getting fixed, whether it likes it or not. And I will curse at it, and I will do everything and get pissed off at it, and then it will get fixed, which may not be. I do get results, but getting there may be, I don't know, killing me. Possibly.
I would end up breaking it more rather than just saying, "Oh, okay, it's not working. We'll go buy another one." Because if I tried to fix it and I couldn't get it fixed, I would end up just breaking it worse than it was. Something simple. Just when in managing all the fix of cars, it was easier to just have a good mechanic rather than me try to do it myself.
When you're talking about cars, I do my own work on my truck, but I have to tell you, it ain't like it used to be when everything had a carburetor, points, coil, that kind of thing. They shove so much stuff into the engine now. It is not easy, and it is not like the old engines were understandable. The new ones, if you aren't a mechanic with a computer and a factory-owned laptop that you can just hook up to the truck and tell everybody what's wrong with it, it's not as understandable. And I belong to a lot of groups for Dodge Rams, so I usually end up getting the answer. So that helps.
That was always the one they said, don't touch this part of the bulb with your hand, or when you plug it in and turn it on, it's going to pop. And sure enough.
Yeah.
So that's
it
when
pops. Yep.
That's when most of the owners of services I work for said, nope, just go take it somewhere and have them change the bulb.
Well, it's like, I used to do that with these spotlights, right? And I never read the directions on light bulbs because I'm a grown man, all right? And I would put them long bulbs are about that long.
Yep.
Cylindrical, and you're not allowed to touch them with your hands, all right? And I didn't know this, and they kept popping, and I'm looking, and finally I said, all right, I'll look at the back of the package, and it says, oh yeah, you can't do that. So then I was like, well, how the hell are you supposed to beg it to go in? So I just ripped the back of the package off and put it in with the cardboard around it, and it worked. So I was like, okay.
Right. I mean,
at the time,
I'm a
47-year-old man who doesn't know how to put a light bulb in. This is not good. It's not good.
Right. Yeah. We'd send a car to a garage to get a simple light changed, and we get a bill for $150 from the mechanic, and the owners will call me in and go, "You paid $150 to have Charlie put a light bulb in the car that you're driving that you know how to do. You've owned the car as long as you've been driving." And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "Why?" Because if I put it in there, it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. No, it's true story. Yeah.
I had the best of luck. If a headlight was out and they pulled me over at night, I'd say I'm on my way to the office. It just blew, and 9 out of 10 times they let me go. I think one actually wrote me a written warning once, but they let me go, and I always got it fixed.
I had a tail light out, so I put a new tail light in, and the next, just the bulb, right? It's easy. You couple screws, you pull it, I put it in, and burned out again. So I went and looked at it, and the socket also burned up. So I was like, "Oh, that's neat." All right. So I go into the Napa, and I said, "I need a socket and a bulb." And so I got the socket. Naturally, the exact socket for my truck that they sold me was not the correct one. You have to buy that from the dealership. Now, this socket was about $6. This socket was about $6, and it was, just cheap plastic crap with some wires hanging out of it. It wasn't a big deal. Okay. And of course, the bulb was, I don't know, that was like $3. So I said, all right, fine. I turned that back in. I went down to the Dodge place, and I go into their parts department, and I said, "I need this socket for this, blah, blah, blah. $18.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the guy like, "You're not even laughing when you say that. How is that possible?" And so I got it. And then he tells me, he says, "You need a bulb?" I go, "No, I got one from the Napa." "Oh, that's probably why it blew. You got to buy our bulbs." And I'm looking at him, and I couldn't take no more. So I said, "No, it's okay." Actually, it hasn't been a problem since. So I'm thinking he might have been full of crap. But it's all like, it's you know what it is? It's like organized crime, but legal.
They get you too, because they tell you that their parts store brand is $18, but you go to the Dodge dealer and they probably want $180.
Yeah.
For it.
I had a problem with them when I first bought the damn thing. It automatically needed a new fuel rail, and they didn't want to put it in.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there arguing. I just bought this 2 days ago. You have to put it in. All right. It's under warranty for at least 30 days in this state, and you know it. It took like a half hour to get them to put it in because they didn't want to spend the money. And it was like a $400 part. The fuel rail was like $400. Now, I could have got the same fuel rail off of Amazon for, I don't know, probably $125 or less. And at the time, probably less. But, you can't. It's organized crime, what they do. It really is. I mean, $100 an hour for a mechanic. I'm sorry. Considering they're only paying, it's $100 an hour labor, but they're only paying the mechanic at most $25 of that. So where's the other $75 going? Nobody else is doing any labor but the mechanic. So why am I paying $100 an hour?
The service manager's got to get a piece. The general manager's got to get a piece.
I guess they're all getting something.
They're all getting something.
Because these car dealerships, as much as they rip you off every chance they get, they're got $1 million worth of stock, and they got $1 million shop, and they got everything you can imagine, every tool you can imagine, everything you can imagine. They got all this stuff. So yeah, and what
unless they're a Lincoln Mercury
vehicle, there is not a truck in the world, a pickup truck worth $80,000-$90,000. People, not one. Okay, not one. They are trying to sell trucks that are 5-6 years old for $70,000. Oh, well, this has this in the engine. You can't hear it with it. I don't care. Damn thing's got 125,000 miles on it. It's 5-6 years old, and you're telling me it's worth $70,000? There's no way.
Okay.
Sorry. Have a nice day. Hey, Larry Burns from Canada's here.
And no one knows that that lesson better than me. That 22-year-old Toyota sold in 2001 for $28,500 to my mommy, and I sold it to the junkyard that hauled it away for $250 cash. So
Yeah.
what people
too,
I
Dave.
learned what people think their car is worth is not necessarily anywhere near what the market value or whatever.
I've been to yard sales before that have had like what it's selling, what people are asking for it, the whole page printed out on each item. And
Yeah,
you try to explain to people that that's not what it's worth. That's just what people are asking. What it's sold for is what it's
right.
worth. And they will vehemently deny this and tell you you're wrong and blah, 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 blah. But then,
Yeah,
how many people are walking away because, you don't know what you're talking about because your stuff is not worth $1 million.
right.
These reality TV shows with the storage wars. I used to go to storage auctions all the time. And literally,
Yeah,
you could get a storage auction for $50 and find something in there that was worth $100 that paid for everything and a profit.
yeah.
Then the TV show came on, and people started at $50 storage went to $500 almost immediately.
Yeah.
And people couldn't understand why it wasn't working for them because they got boxes of clothes instead of anything of value.
Yeah.
People are idiots. That's why they ruin everything. They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, and
You
Geraldo
go to
probably
yard sale, you
was.
go to flea market. You used to be able to get a deal at the flea market. You used to be able to get a deal at the yard sale. Now everybody thinks their stuff is worth $1 million, and they way overcharge for what it is.
Yeah.
If I want to go in and buy some Craftsman wrenches or something, and they're 20-year-old Craftsman wrenches, fine. I understand that they should cost more than one made in Taiwan or one made in China. But
Yeah.
I'm not paying $50 for a 15/16 wrench just because it's a Craftsman or a Snap-on or a Metco. And I have sold, I can't tell you how many thousands of tools in my lifetime that I have bought and sold and
Those
made a
Snap-on
lot of
guys.
money on.
Those Snap-on guys have a racket. I mean,
Oh yeah.
they play every gas station mechanic against each other, and it's like if you don't, I got this, like you said, Mondo Simplex Super something wrench that this week it's $1,500, and if you don't buy it today, I'm going to sell it. They go around the corner, they tell that guy that the second guy it's $1,700 today, and they'll say that Jerry just turned it down at DIY Garage, and you buy it until the next time you run into Jerry and you say, I bought that wrench that you didn't, and they tell you they paid $1,700 for it.
Well, what I know about them guys is that it's not even that; it's the interest rate. I mean, when you sign that contract, the interest rate is horrible. I don't care if you got good credit or not; it makes no difference. And you're paying for almost the rest of your life on the simplest things. I know a guy. He paid. He got a brand new toolbox. I think it was a Matco. This is years ago. I mean, back in the 80s. $5,000 for this toolbox. It's a nice toolbox. Back when they were made of real metal, thick, and you could run into it with a car and it'd still open up nicely and all that. And I don't think that guy ever did finish paying for it. It's just forever and ever and ever. But when you're a mechanic, what a lot of people don't understand about mechanics, good ones, is you walk in, like I walked into the Dodge one, and I was talking to the guy, and he had literally 6 rolling toolboxes full of nothing but tools, and the tools in them were probably worth between $75,000 and $100,000.
Yeah.
When it's all said and done.
Yep.
And he had some that were actually in Harbor Freight toolboxes, and I was laughing because I said, Harbor Freight, really? He goes, yeah, bring the junk here. I was like, yeah, I don't blame you. And you know what? but that guy knows what he's doing, and he's a professional, as
yeah,
opposed to me, where I'm punching the the fender because my truck is annoying me. So he doesn't do that. I do. I come up with broken knuckles because of my truck, and he doesn't. So that's the difference.
yeah,
I have a bunch of sockets, a bunch of wrenches. Um, I have air tools, and nobody uses air tools anymore. Nobody.
yeah,
Everybody's using battery operated tools. And so I
yeah.
said, well, let me check this out. Yeah, like 600, $800 for a good set. I don't have that kind of money. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm just going to use my ratchets and my wrenches, I guess. I don't know.
I,
Uh,
I
but,
don't know. Like I said, all I
it's all
know is that if it's not simple and I can do it myself, then I'm going to break it trying to get it done. Then just find someone who can do it,
well, you got to teach yourself,
or replace it.
you got to teach yourself one very important thing, and that be gentle until being aping things is appropriate.
Yes.
And I had that took a long time for me to learn. Took a long time for me to learn. Uh, and my wife is the aping kind. If the like, I've never seen this before. The top drawer on the dishwasher, it comes out and there's a stop in the back, so it doesn't come flying out and hit the wall or something, right? She actually broke that stop in the back somehow, trying to open the thing. And I'm looking at her like, because she doesn't like open and then stop if it's something's caught. She just keeps yanking on it. And I'm looking at her like, what the hell are you doing? The TV, about it once every 6 months, I got to go in the room and unscrew her TV because she hits a button, then tries to hit 25 more buttons.
Yeah, that's me.
And I'm like, why? Why? And it doesn't help. But I learned it, so that helps. Whatever. Okay.
Yeah,
But it's a hard thing to learn when you're not like I'm a lot more patient than I used to be, so it's helpful
yeah,
a lot.
yeah,
Once you learn that, and I had to yell at myself a lot to keep. You're patient for a while, and then, like Dave says, you want to just smash everything with a freaking hammer or something. I don't. It took a while for me not to do that. So
well, that
you get things
that
happening, Dave.
yeah, I dropped something trying to turn. I got a little book light that puts a little more light on my face once it gets dark. Because
Well, we appreciate it.
people were complaining I looked like the Wizard of Oz if I sat here in the dark. So I
Yeah,
knocked I
you
knocked
do.
some
You look
people,
like a floating head. It's funny.
but I
It's
never
funny though. We liked it.
I've never had much patience with a lot of things, and if it was like a piece of equipment or something wasn't
Yeah.
working, then if I didn't know how to fix it and I couldn't fix it, if I called chief engineers at 3 o'clock in the morning and said, "Well, this isn't working," he'd just say, "Lock the doors and go home." Or
Yeah. Well,
you know,
I would.
it's like,
I was every. You know what it was? You got to go from point A to point B to point C to point D in order to do stuff.
yeah,
And I used to be one of them point A to point Z, and it ain't working, and now I'm gonna break it with a hammer. I don't care, and then go buy a new one or something. And I found out, and the more I did stuff and fixed, I used to sell a lot of vacuum cleaners. People would get rid of them because the filters were clogged and it wasn't sucking anything up, or the belt was missing off or broke
yeah,
off it or something. And I found out that if you just take your time, and the more I did that, the more I realized I've been doing it wrong my whole life, and people have been trying to tell me, and I thought they were wrong and they were right, and now I feel stupid.
yep,
But I finally learned. I
yep.
mean, it was not overnight by any stretch of the imagination,
No,
But
but
I've made a lot of money being patient also, because if I don't like somebody and I bought a bunch of shit and I'm trying to sell it, If I don't like somebody who comes to my house and they treat me like I'm an idiot, I'm not going to sell it to you. I don't give a shit how much you offer me. You could offer me $1 million for $5 worth of crap. I'm not going to sell it to you. You want to know why? Because I put some time into this damn thing, cleaning it up, fixing it, doing whatever. And you're a jerk. So if I don't sell it today, I guarantee you I'll sell it to someone who's a lot more respectful at my damn house than you are.
Yeah.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And I got to be truthful. I enjoy it. I do.
My big thing was just learning that no one will treat your car better than you do. And I used to say to guys all the time,
Yeah.
if something is wrong with your car, leave me a note or call me and let me know, and I'll come and swap cars with you in the middle of the night. You have my car so that you go out and continue to make money, and I'll get your car fixed. Or they would leave it on their day off. I would go take it just to see how it was riding to make sure everything was okay and get stuff done. And then they'd come pick it up the next day. Miraculously, the steering wheel doesn't shimmy at 200 miles an hour. And I would look at them and go, yeah, because the steering wheel was shimmying at 65 with the cruise control locked. So I went and had it fixed. If you had told me, I would have gone and had it fixed.
Yeah, I mean, some stuff, like, I'm not sure if I would pull a transmission or a motor out of my truck.
No, I couldn't do that. You know,
I mean, I have the stuff to do it. It's just, do I really want to do this kind of thing? But like, our refrigerator needed a new water thing at the bottom underneath where it directs the water, like a pump. It literally took 5 minutes to fix. Now, if the motor went on it, probably not worth fixing. Okay. Considering I got our refrigerator, our stove, and our dishwasher for free, I have spent less than $100 getting them all to work correctly and they all match and everything, and it's good. But it's like I said, if you don't have a lot of money and you want nicer stuff, or you want decent looking stuff or whatever, you got to put some work into it.
You do.
And you got to be able to do stuff. But you get to an age where the heavy stuff, you really think twice about it, because it's just, I mean, I got a refrigerator before this one, and it took me 3 hours to get it up the stairs, and it's something that I used to be able to do without a hand truck.
Yeah.
I could lift it up the stairs. I was so frustrated. I was almost in tears. I was so frustrated and pissed off at this thing. As a matter of fact, I got it halfway up the stairs on a hand truck, and then it fell out of my hands. It just came out of my hands because I got arthritic fingers, and bounced down the stair through two or three steps, and then fell over on its side. And I was happy about it. I was like, screw you. You're going to die right there, and that's where you're going to stay. Ended up getting it up, but and it wasn't broke for some reason, amazingly. But you got to start thinking about what's smart and what's stupid. So I don't know. What bothered me was guy bought that refrigerator after we were done with it. Yeah, guy bought that refrigerator after we were done, got another one.
Yeah.
It worked and everything. He just wanted it for like beer and stuff.
Yeah.
And I told him I can't help you lift it into the truck, because that's what he brought, a truck, which is fine, but you got to still get it in the truck. He actually picked the damn thing up from the bottom like I used to, placed it on the tailgate and slid it in. And I was looking at it, and he was like, I don't know, 25 or something. He was a young guy.
Well, that's why he was 25 and you were like 90 to him.
Yeah,
so,
I remember them days, and I have something to tell you. You're not going to like it, but at some point you're going to be me. And he laughed. I said, yeah, keep laughing, because it's coming, dude. It's coming. But
And then you go back and see him when he's as old as we are now, and he's probably He's probably worked out like Jack LaLanne all his life, and at 90 years old, he could pick that dryer up with one hand and put it inside the refrigerator and carry both.
Yeah. Yeah, that would really irritate me. I got to be truthful if that happens, but I'll be dead before it does, so it doesn't matter. It's just the thing, I really try to use my head on a lot more stuff than I used to. It used to be, let's just pull in the China shop, just crap done, and we're good.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, okay, I'll actually spend like a day just figuring out how to do an entire job so that I'm not killing me. And it actually works out better because I'm 60 now. I'm not 25 or even 35.
Just a baby.
I
You're
was
just a baby.
lifting refrigerators into dumpsters when I was 45, 46. I could still do it. It was a lot harder, but I could still do it. And now when you find out when you're on my size and you find out you can't do stuff anymore that you used to do, it's like a harsh reality. You don't realize it. With the people that aren't my size don't realize what a harsh reality that is. Because you are no longer the toughest. You are no longer the strongest by any stretch of the imagination. You are no longer a whole bunch of things that you once were. And you need to start using your head, which always scares me because there's nothing good in there. Nothing good. But, there you go. Hey.
You do. Yep.
There you go.
You live and learn, and then you buy loves. One of my favorite TV commercial lines. You live and learn, and then you buy loves.
Yeah, apparently. Before my dad died, I didn't know this. While he was in the hospital, I used his bathroom. And I didn't know he used Depends. And I was shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who was like the most straight arrow guy you ever missed. When I was a teenager, he pissed me off daily with his straight arrow bullshit, do the right thing, all that crap. And you don't think about that stuff until you get to be older. And apparently there's a reason that commercial's on TV all the damn time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't imagine what it took him to put them on for the first time. I really can't.
Let's say ask Joe Biden, but he probably doesn't remember to put them on every morning, or has to have somebody put them on him.
Well, judging by that thing with the Pope, that wouldn't surprise me. I guess I don't know, but or what was it, the airplane or something where he had the stain?
I thought it was with the Pope.
I remember one time. I was in a barber shop.
One of them was with the Pope.
I still had my buddy had a barber shop, and back when I had hair, I was in there to get a haircut for some. It was probably the like 9-month mark, and I just decided to get one. So I go and and this old guy comes in, and he sits down next to me, and I didn't pay attention. I'm reading something, and all of a sudden that smell came, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And everybody's like looking at each other, and we're trying not to look at each other and all that. And my buddy who owned the shop, he walked over to the guy, asked him to come outside. Guy had shit all over himself, and he didn't even know.
Ouch.
And we were all kind of laughing, but you could tell that a lot of us, I was laughing, but it was like, holy fuck, man, how bad can that be? I mean, that's got to be the most embarrassing thing in the planet for that to happen. I just like, and I don't know, Dave. When you're young, you hear that saying, growing old ain't for the weak or something like that. But it's really not. Because you are treated less well when you're older.
Yep.
People, especially kids, they treat you like you're nothing. Now, I don't really get that as much because of the way I look, but it still happens. And what they don't understand about old people is that old people are old for a reason. Okay. And that's because they've lived through hell and came out the other side for a lot of them.
Yep.
We all got our problems, but you shouldn't really screw with a lot of old people because they will surprise the crap out of you. I'll never forget. I watched this video one time. This white guy, old white guy, he probably in his 70s or something, and the black guy in the train was screwing with him and screwing with him and screwing with him, and he went over to go jostle the guy, I guess, and the white guy damn near knocked him out. I was like, yeah, there you go. It's funny, but hey,
There was
anyway.
there was one where a girl, I guess, managed to pick the pot. Saw a guy walk away from an ATM. An older guy walked away with a big wad of cash, puts it in his back pocket, and he walks away. It was a setup, and the girl bumped into him and got the cash out of the pocket, and then around the corner, two people that were with the guy ripped her off, and then she ends up back with the guy that she ripped off, and the guy had her arrested, but explained to her, everybody's going to take care of me because I'm old.
Well, I've always been of the opinion, even when I was young, Dave, that you don't screw with old people. I have always liked old people, even when I was a young guy. You sit there, you listen to them. They're funny. They make you laugh. And you know that you're stronger than them just because you're younger most of the time. Okay, and that's all. That's it. But they're smarter than you. Even at 25, you know that.
Yeah.
You don't listen to them, and if you did, we'd all live a happier life. But we don't listen to them. But we do. Me, I've always been for the underdog. I've always been for the weaker. I've always been all that, and I've always stood up for that, even when I was young. I didn't play that game where because I was bullied in in school, not high school, but middle school, and I didn't like it, and I don't like it when other people do it to others. So if you're going to try to rob an old person or somebody weaker than you, or whatever, I don't know. I'm there. I'm going to do something, whatever that is. I don't know.
Yep. Yep.
It's just you can't. People that like you see the knockout game where they're just knocking out old people. You see people getting robbed because they're weaker. Crazy. They got a kid with them, or they're a female, or something like that. That disgusts me because it's a cowardly act. It's not manly. It's a cowardly act. Okay, you are a coward if you do these things. I don't care what color you are. You're a coward. Okay, and you deserve every bad thing that can happen to you. My opinion.
Well, I guess it's considered wrong to say, but I think if you play that knockout game, you're the one who should be in the prison yard being the knockout. It's not the right thing to say, but the reality is that they always say what goes around comes around, and
I don't even think we should be paying for him to go to prison. These people should be just put out in the courtyard and let people come over and knock the shit out of them. I don't know. Yeah. My problem with today's society is that you'll see a guy or a girl getting the ever-living crap beat out of them by 6 people, and everybody else standing there has got a phone out and doing nothing to stop it. That bothers me. It bothers me a lot.
Recording it because they want the first one to get it posted.
Yeah. And we have, a mass shooting or a shooting of any kind anywhere I see a bunch of men running from a building. That bothers me a lot. A lot. You men are supposed to, I don't give a shit what society said. Men are supposed to protect the weak, females, kids, whoever. Okay, they're not supposed to run from a fight. They're supposed to run to the fight and do what they can. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't care what society says. I'm not going to spit on my whole damn life by running.
No.
And if that means, being wounded or being, I don't know, I guess killed. I don't. I,
Right.
I I
But
just
and
I'm
you,
not spitting on my whole fucking life because people say I
no,
should be afraid. I'm not doing it.
no, and you shouldn't be. And unfortunately, I'm the one who has believed. I guess I should be afraid because I never would have stood up and done anything.
Well, we've had
Now, my
we
first
have
my first fight,
we've
and it
lost we've you
wasn't even a
understand
fight.
something, Dave. You and I have lived different lives. You and I
Yeah,
have lived different lives. Your
yeah,
life, the way you lived it, was a lot better than mine. We had
yeah.
problems. Don't get me wrong. Everybody has
No, I
problems,
understand.
okay? But
Yeah,
we have lived different lives to where I have seen way too much of the worst of society, not on TV, not on in the
right.
newspaper, but in real life. And
Mhm.
I have developed certain traits.
Yeah,
Some of them are self-defeating, but it's like I said, I'm not going to spit on my whole fucking life
no,
and be something I'm not anymore.
right.
And that's what I have to do, and that's all it is. It's not some kind of fucking hero
Mhm.
garbage.
No,
I
I
don't believe in
understand.
heroes.
Yeah,
You want to know why? Because I've had them in my life, and they always let you down. I believe
okay.
in people doing extraordinary things in a moment's notice that normally they would not do, um, and whatever that is doesn't matter. But to help somebody else that may be having a problem, whatever that is. Okay, that's what I believe in, and most of the people that I associate with also believe that. And it's very easy to say, but you have to know it in your heart, not just your mind. And I know it in my heart because I have done it. Now
Yeah,
I've never been shot or stabbed or anything like that,
right,
but I have waded into the middle of crap because somebody was getting their ass beat who didn't deserve it, and
right.
I've been hit because of it. I've been not really beat up, but it hurt. But in the end, I could look myself in the mirror, and that's all that mattered.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to make it sound bigger than it
No,
was because it was just a thing. But because everybody seems like well, he's a hero. No, he's not a hero. He's just a guy who did something that normally people don't do, and he paid a price for it. But he can go home and look himself in the mirror and say, "I did the right thing." To me, that is the only thing that matters.
hmm
Because I spend my days trying to do the right thing at everything for the people I love, and even if and a lot of this shit is like you don't ignore the old lady in the parking lot who's having trouble loading her groceries. It's not always some fight or a shootout. It's
right.
just very simple things that cost you nothing but a few seconds of your time.
And it meant the world to that lady. It spent the world that
Maybe,
you
maybe
took.
not, but it doesn't matter. It's how I feel about what I did. That's how I
Right,
look at it. Okay, that is the reward. It's not money. It's not
right.
a big job. The reward is how you feel about yourself that you did the right thing. Because when
Yep.
I do the wrong thing, there is nobody on this planet that curses me out more than me.
hmm
Nobody.
Yep.
That's it. I don't know. It sounds like it's bigger than it is, but it's how we're all supposed
No.
to be. And Larry Burns always says it. I think it's morals. He's probably right, even though
Yep.
he's from Canada. But nevertheless, it's probably morals. You
Yeah.
have to have a certain amount of morals. And it's not always the gunfight, and it's not always the freaking, whatever. It's
No, it's
sometimes
not.
it's just say, excuse me, please, yes, ma'am, no, sir, that kind of crap, and just get through your damn day without pissing everybody off. That's good, right?
I don't know if I
I
can
think.
do that. I've been pissing people off every day for 61 years. I don't know if I can do
Eh,
that, but I'll try.
well,
I,
I,
I, I know
listen.
I know what you're saying.
I didn't say I was
Oh,
afraid to piss
okay.
people off. I just said I try not to. That's all. It
Right.
depends on the
Yeah.
person,
Sometimes
you know.
I'll admit it is fun sometimes,
I'm not
but
that
most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's not.
No, if it's a person that is, there's people out there that deserve it. I'm sorry, and at any given time, I could be that person, frankly.
Yep,
Okay,
I could too.
along with everybody else. But
Yep,
if I see somebody like berating somebody that because they it was a mistake or something, like a cashier at the store, and you got some guy or lady treating them like shit. You can bet your ass I'm gonna do what I can to piss you off and make you mad at me.
yep,
Two reasons: one, it directs it towards me, which I can handle, and two, I'm truly enjoying it because everybody's looking at that person like they're a moron and looking at me like I'm some kind of freaking cool guy who just not going to put up with their crap.
I
So
still,
I don't know if that's right or wrong, but
I still
anyway,
want to be the guy who goes
whatever.
into
I don't know.
Walmart. I still want to be the guy who goes into Walmart with $24 in $2 bills and hands the cashier $24 in $2 bills for a $24 purchase, and the cashier hands the person $10 change. I still, for the life of me, cannot figure out how that
Yeah,
person still works
yeah.
at Walmart. I just,
Dave, Dave,
you know,
considering what cash registers can do these days, I guarantee you, if you took 90% of the cashiers in this country out and put them on an old time freaking cash register that just gave you the price and nothing else,
right,
and you had to count out the change, businesses would be going under every 5 minutes. That's
right.
all
But I
I
mean,
come up with because I
but
don't
in the
understand
in the
how you
eighties,
cannot count change. It's
in
unreal.
the in the '80s, the late '70s, early '80s. I graduated high school in '80, so I was working at J.C. Penney, and we had wands that you had to wave the wand over everything that you were ringing up. You had to tell the cash register how much you got, how much the person gave you, and it told you how much to give back. And these ones do the same thing. So I don't understand how that Walmart clerk got $24 in $2 bills, punched in $24, and decided you get $10 back. Because the register wasn't, I mean,
I've been in places. I've been in
you know,
places where cashiers say we don't accept them. It's not American tender or United States
right.
tender or
Yep.
tender or whatever. And
Yep.
I'm looking at them like, yeah, I haven't done it. I don't do it,
There
but
was a
I've
guy
seen it. People come in with
who,
like $2 bills and they're like,
yep,
we can't accept these. And I'm like,
he's,
I'm laughing because the guy in front of me is like, yeah, okay, go get the
there's a
manager.
guy
And it's
who,
like,
he's retired military, and I forget what state he's in, but he has a foundation, I guess, that gives the kids the high school trip to Washington, D.C. to see how the government works. And he pays for the lunch for everybody who's on the trip, and he gives them $2 bills. At one time, he was with a group, and he went in to pay in $2 bills, and they told him it's not real money. The police that showed up said it's not real money, and they cuffed him and they took him to jail. And then I guess the chief or some high-ranking police officer looked at it and said, "They're real." You know,
well, it was probably a guy in his 40s who it didn't matter if it was the chief or it probably somebody in their 40s or above told
yeah,
them that because that's usually
yeah,
how it works.
you know,
What
and
kids don't know today about simple stuff that we knew as kids
yeah,
is amazing to me. It truly like counting change. I learned how to count change in like elementary school.
yeah,
And when I had one of my jobs, I was a bartender at this pool hall in Gainesville. And he had like this cash register from the 20s in there. He had already been in business 30 years. And this was in the 80s, so say the 50s. Okay. And all it did, you put in what it is, and it would give you the price and the total. No change, none of that
yeah,
came up on. And when it had the things, the old cash register, they flipped and
yeah,
all that, the numbers and everything.
Yeah.
And you had to learn how to count change, and it was easy because everything was like $1, $2, $2.50,
Yeah.
$1.50, that kind of thing. So it was very simple. But I already knew how to do it.
Yeah.
And these kids today, if they can't see what's on the register, they can't they
Yeah. I
can't
know.
do it. And it's like, wow, really? And you know who I hate? I hate those people that will, like, you got something for $5.12, and they'll give you $5, or something like that, and whatever it is, and they expect, it's like, stop doing that. Nobody cares about your stupid crap. Just stop doing that. All right.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't know. I just you know what? Um, right now, what I do when I go to a store, I don't pay cash that much, but when I
Right.
do, I just make sure I know what cash I gave them, because a lot of times these kids don't look. It used to be when you gave somebody a 20, they put the 20 on the register and then counted out your change for
Yeah.
whatever the 20, whatever it cost, to $20. Now they throw it in there and you get the change back, and half times change is wrong, and then they'll try to tell you that you gave me a 10. It's like, no, I
Yeah.
didn't. I gave you a 20. And then
Right.
they'll argue with you because they
Or
know more than you, and then you got to stop the entire store for them to count the damn
or
register to find
or
out you gave a
or you get
20 in
the
the first
manager who
place.
comes over and takes your name and says, we'll count it. We'll count the drawer at the end of the shift, and if they're wrong and they owe you, then the drawer will be over and you get it back, and you don't always get it back. But
Nope.
you know,
Oh, I use the water machine up in town. If I lose money in the water machine, I don't even bother, because you got to write them a letter and tell them. And it's like, yeah,
yeah,
okay, yeah, I'm never gonna get my dollar back in quarters. So what's the
yeah,
point? You only got to do is send me a check. I'm like, just forget it.
yeah. I'm gonna send you
Damn
a
thing's
check for
broke. Hard work.
25 cents. That's what
Yeah,
I
I
like.
just,
Yeah, you get the here.
David.
You were involved. You were involved in this $1 trillion settlement, and here's your check for 25 cents, and it cost them $2 to mail the check to you.
Oh yeah, I got one. I don't even remember being a member of it. I have no idea what it was for, but I got a check. I swear to God, it was for 16 cents.
Yeah,
I threw it away. I cannot go to the bank and deposit 16 cents. People will laugh at me, and rightfully so. And I don't. Who needs that?
yeah,
It's like ridiculous. 16 cents. I was like, I didn't even know what it was for. I don't remember signing up for it. I don't remember any of it. But it was 16 cents, and I'm like, well, whatever it was, apparently nobody cares. So, just think it's
yeah.
garbage. The problem is, so does everybody else. So that 16 cents all added up probably went to the lawyers anyway, so it didn't matter. Dave, as much
Probably.
as I have enjoyed this, I have to
Yeah.
go.
Go.
It's a
Yeah,
little after 9.
yeah. Don't
I
want you to
I
do it
appreciate you letting me on.
anytime.
I hope next time we
Anytime.
get some more people on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for
And
coming
you have a
by.
great day.
The
You are
American
welcome on our
Rebellion
show
with Jerry
anytime.
is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, ABCDD, EFJ. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Feels like
Here on Facebook, on somewhere on Rumble. I haven't figured it out yet, but I tell people as soon as I figure it out, I'll let you know.
we
And
once in a while we do one on Rumble. It doesn't really
okay,
get a lot of views, so I don't do it a lot. But it
yeah,
depends on if I set the show up or if Nick sets the show up. If I set it up, I'll put it on Rumble. Otherwise, I don't. It's
yeah.
just whatever. It
All
doesn't
right,
matter to me really that much. We have the same people come on every show.
yep,
We have usually the same people or at close to it on the screen, and we just try to have a good time and enjoy things. And every now and
yep,
again, we'll have a laugh, and everybody's happy. So
yep,
I appreciate everybody that came over
yep,
from the rebellion and watched. Thank you. And
yep.
anyway, I'm going to
Totally.
go. Thank you, Dave. You're welcome on our show anytime. Please
I
just,
know.
whatever
I know.
you want.
Yep, I
So
know.
take care of yourself.
All right, Jerry. Thanks for dropping by.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, let's see. Let me do this, then we'll close it out. We'll send. We'll do that. I hate doing it that way. I always like to say I'm going to ask people to open their parachute before they do that. Jerry Michaels from the American Rebellion, like I said, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday here on Facebook. Go to the American Rebellion blogger page and you can watch it live, or it'll be shared around Facebook, I'm sure. Jolene, thanks for stopping by. Larry up in Canada, thank you for dropping by. Robin Brunson was here earlier. And if I didn't name you, it's because I didn't see you. But come by and watch the Thursday, 7 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern's this one. This is the last of the Thursdays. We're going to move it to Tuesdays because more people can join us on Tuesday than can join us on Thursday. So we're going to do that. So keep that in mind. And on that note, this is a part of the broadcast where I tell you you have been watching Boogie with the Bull Uncensored, a copyrighted presentation of the No Budget Broadcasting Company. We own everything, so you don't. So stop trying to tell me that you do. Anyway, double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast has come to an end. One more time, we'll fly up here. Double B's for victory. This Boogie with the Bull broadcast has come to an end, and it will come to an end before we get the third one in, but we'll try anyway.